Hello, everyone. I am Chauncey of Infinite Direction and career coach, accountability coach, and an author as well. I gotta find a cute little intro, but we're working on getting things together. But I just wanted to come on today and just do a recap of my episode 9. May I offer you a different perspective video where I interviewed Dion um, of Work with Dion. She's a personal branding consultant. And so she's really great. Go over and number one, check out that video. Number two, check out her website, workwithdion.com. So I just wanted to, first of all, plug that. And because what this video that I'm about, that I'm doing now is kind of a piggyback off of something that was discussed in that video, which was avoiding conflict and being terminated and walking off a job or being escorted off a job. And so I just wanted to talk about how to avoid conflict and just stand it up for yourself. And I just want to make a note that every situation is going to be different. Use your best judgment in your personal situation. I just want to talk about what happened with me and what the lesson was that I got from that situation. So I just want to make sure I always got my notes. Okay, so back up to the story. The story that I shared, if you have not caught that interview or that or episode 9, the story that I shared was me. I was on a particular job site, and I had, first of all, I was hired for this position through a word of mouth. When you're on a job, people know who you are. People know who you are by your work. That's why if you ever hear me do some of the interviews, I talk about looking at the evidence. People know who you are, especially if you are someone who you overextend yourself, or well, not so much overextend yourself. Well, let me clarify what I'm saying. If you do your work and you are about your work and you have a courteous attitude, you're nice to people, you're not a confrontational type of person, people know you by your work. And your reputation precedes you. And so maybe that's a better way to say it. And so I had been recommended for this job based on my demeanor and how I worked. And so when one position was coming to an end, someone reached out to me and was like, "Hey, this is coming up. We think you'd be great." Okay, cool. And it was for a while. It was nice. I got a hang of it. I already knew everybody that was there. So, it was cool for a minute. And then, you start to notice little stuff. And with women, we just have a really hard time of sometimes being nice to one another, especially when authority can be involved. And this is women across the board. It doesn't matter what we look like. Sometimes we can be confrontational with each other, and it's unnecessary. But you can't control other people, you can only control yourself. And so, and I was way younger than the rest of my team and everybody that I worked with. And I was always raised that you have respect for your elders. And so, I was being talked to um, differently, and so it told a fine line to, for me, my values, and like, okay, well, you have respect for elders, so you kind of like, you, yes, and you keep it pushing. And so it would be tasks that was given to me, and not that I didn't know what I was doing, um, because that's the reason why you hired me. But it was the way that I was talked to when I didn't do something the way they thought that I should have done it. And so it was stuff like comments that were um, underhanded. Like, what's a good example? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have asked you to do it. You don't have the knowledge, or you don't have the experience. Stuff like that. And so it's little underhanded comments and stuff that was made. So make a long story short, it had been going on, going on, going on. And like I said, I was raised, you respect your elders, you don't talk back, and you just okay, and you keep it pushing. But it just kept getting worse. It just kept getting worse. And then on top of that, this particular lady, like I said in the video, she didn't have children, so she was really aggressive. And so I noticed that she would go to the manager a lot, talking about what she felt that I should have been doing a particular way. So she had influence, I'll say that way, because I have to be mindful still. But she had influence. And so it was going against everything that I was, my reputation, put it like that. My reputation was on the line because of this particular person. And it just got a little disheartening. It was discouraging. You get to the point where you're just like, oh, that pit in your stomach Sunday night when you got to get your stuff ready for school, for work the next day, get the kids ready for school, what have you. It's like you're not in it. You doing it because bills are due, and car note, and so you have the pressures of the outside world that keep you staying in situations that is just extremely unhealthy. And on top of that, it was playing out in other areas of my life because I didn't want to be there. I felt disrespected, discounted. And then, like I said, when things would happen and confrontation, I always, because number one, she was a lead, and like I said, based on my values, I will always kind of like, okay, and then you say I was a yes man and let stuff slide, let the disrespect slide. And so things have been mounting up in about a period, I would say, 9 months. Things had just beginning to just mount up. The disrespect. She would get to the point where she was very loud. She would actually be yelling, and it's like, oh, sis. But but yet and still, I kind of like brushed it under the rug. Other stuff was going on in my personal life, so you looking for ways out of like the stress that you feeling. And so, of course, you can't really, I would talk to the other people. I would talk to the other people that were there. And of course, everybody knew that this lady had this particular reputation. Everybody knew it. Because I was not the first person that had been walked off this particular site. And quite a few people had been walked off because she was in some sort of position of influence. So she was the team lead for a reason. And so over a period of about 9 months, it had just been going on, going on, going on, and of course I'm just like every day. And then, like I said, you look for other ways out. And so me communicating and talking to other people, everybody knew what was going on, but anybody dared not to say anything because of her position. And everybody just do the best you can. Don't say anything. And, you get the outside, you know what I'm saying? But of course, they get the kick out of it because she not targeting them. And as long as she targeting me, they keep her off their back. So, it's kind of like, oh, just hang in there. It'll get better. And then things just was really going downhill. So anyway, this particular day that, I call it the straw that broke the camel's back, and I promise I'm about to wrap it up, but I have some points that reason why I'm saying all of this. But The straw that broke the camel's back was I was responsible for making sure certain things get where they belong, and that included people that came in, and you had to be escorted. You had to escort these people because of where it was. And so I had somebody waiting on me. I had a third party waiting on me, and sh- she was yelling and getting disrespectful. And I'm like, I'm trying to tell her that I gotta go. Like somebody's waiting on me, but of course she didn't want to hear. She just kept, and I'm like, And so I said, okay. And I turned around and I walked away. I said, I can't. And I turned around and walked away. Not thinking that she, you know what I'm saying, she was just going to take things to a whole new level. But she did. She called the program manager. They came because the main office was maybe like a couple of blocks away. And by the time I got finished escorting the third party around to do whatever that they needed to do, by the time I got back, he tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, I need you, just get your coat, get your purse. I need you to come with me. So I was like, okay. You know. And he explained to me on the way back to the main office was that, she had an issue with me walking away. She thought it was disrespectful. And mind you, this person, the manager, the program manager, had been very well aware of the tactics that this person used because they themselves had seen her do this to quite a few people, and they've acknowledged it to me personally. But one thing about politics and office, people can have personal feelings, but they will never make it public. So that's another reason why I say stay away from the gossip, because people will talk about people with you, and they will be the very ones to switch some stuff around or say it was you. So just stay away from it altogether. But like I said, this particular person was very well aware, and they saw with their own eyes, because they had been near decades longer than I have with this person. So they know. And so, but that was the same person that came and told me she wants you away. She wants you gone. And so there was an investigation. And like I said, by the end of it, I was let go. And at first it was like the worst. Now I'm going to refer to my notes, but it was the worst thing that I felt in that moment that had happened, because I'm like, I got kids, I got things that my household depends on me, the outside stuff, and so it was those things that allowed me to hang around in a situation where I was being discounted, talked down to, verbally abused, and disrespected on the job. Not to mention, my own personal beliefs got in the way, because I was taught you don't challenge your elders, you don't talk back, when somebody, that whole old school thing, and it is purpose to it, and I understand it. But at some point, you have to stand up for yourself and not allow people to disrespect you and use you for your skills and your abilities and what you know, but then turn around and take from you, and then act as if you don't have anything to contribute to anything. And that's whether home, work life, love. That's what they say, work life, love. That's in all areas of your life. You be mindful, because if you bring something to the table and you bring something to the table, you have say so, you have a voice. Um, and so I wanted to say that. Two is there is an HR process for a reason. I strongly encourage people to become familiar with your HR process. The reason why I say that is because we get into these jobs, we feel like we are subservient and we supposed to just accept any type of behavior. No, there is a grievance process. What I should have been doing is I should have been documenting and reporting her every time I was yelled at and disrespected, because it wasn't privately, it was publicly. People saw. And as long as you don't say anything, nobody else gonna say anything. So you be your own best advocate, not even in just health. I'm just work, life, love. So be familiar with your HR process. Keep your documents when you accept a position and you're hired and your onboarding process. Not only do you should get a copy of the employee handbook and the employee guidebook. Use it if you need to. Document what's going on the job. If you closed mouths don't get fed, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, whatever that saying is, because if you ain't complaining, you best believe somebody is complaining, and the person that's complaining is the person that's going to get action. So make it be known. If you are experiencing issues, aggressive behavior with people, especially people who have influence over your particular position, any position, if you disrespected by anybody, make it be known. And I'm gonna say this too, even that doesn't guarantee that you keep your job, but don't just think about yourself, think about the next person, because if it's just the case that just keeps getting built up and built up, people will, their karma will come. It's not for you to sit around and wait for it, but what you do dirty to people, it comes back. So you make a note of it. Your HR process is in place for a reason. Use it. If you just don't care and you just going to, take your bumps and bruises until you can find you something else, that's good too. But still, when you put in your 2 weeks notice, make a note. Say, hey, look, this is my 2 weeks notice. This is, explain what your experience has been and why you're stepping down. And and there's nothing wrong with that. And what you got to lose? You about to leave anyway. But they gonna make your 2 weeks worse than what it already's been. You know. So, that too. I say this too, keep your resume updated. Don't wait until you've been escorted off of a job or off of a particular site, whatever the case may be, until you want to start putting all your efforts into, trying to secure a reference and get your resume updated. No, you do that within your first day to first week of what your duties are what your duties are and what you be responsible for. So, and as you do trainings and stuff like that, you keep your resume updated. Don't wait until everything is over and done with. Keep your certificates and everything that you've earned on that position. We want to hang it up and be cute. Take that stuff home, because when you've been walked off a job, the only thing you allowed to get is your coat and your purse for us women. But your coat, your briefcase for the men, whatever, they gonna mail your stuff to you. So you keep all that cute stuff at home. And I just want people to know that you have a voice. It doesn't matter where you are, but especially on the job. Don't feel that because you're not in a management position or whatever the case may be, that your concerns are not validated or cannot be validated. And even if they're not, so what? Just still speak your piece. Say what you need to say. Don't, for me, it was, like I said, not wanting to be disrespectful And it was my lesson in the whole thing to stand up for myself. There is a way to handle on the job conflict without disrespectful behavior, tolerance, screaming, and aggression. Circling back to the HR process, you let your pen speak for you. And so, just circling back, advocating for yourself and being accountable to yourself first. You Nobody's going to speak up for you. You have to take the steps to speak up for yourself, and you always have the option to walk away. Like they say about relationships, men and or women are there. You're not the only fish in the sea. Same thing with jobs. And if you really want to, go ahead on and step out there on faith, create your own job. So based on what you've learned on your past experience. So I hope that's helped. Hope I, said something that, will help someone being able to take the steps that they need to take to stand up for themselves in their own situation, or just a lesson that I've learned, and I hope you've learned something from it too. So that's our perfect place to put a pin in it, and I'll see you next video.